everyone, welcome to the fourth episode of LuCookieknits. I'm Catherine. I'm Kekskrümelchen on Instagram, Kekskrümelchens on Ravelry. And then a design under LuCookie Designs. So welcome. Wow, I can't really wrap my head around that it's already the fourth episode and I'm doing this like 1 month now. So time seems to be flying by. I also wanted to thank every returning viewer for coming back, and also I wanted to say hello to every new viewer who's checking the podcast out. I hope you all like it, and So today there will be whips, no FO. I couldn't finish anything last week because we were out and about quite a bit. There will be some new acquisitions, which are not yarny, but more like, other things you need for knitting. So, I think this will be a shorter episode today, and before I start with the works in progress, I'm wearing a shawl today, which is my Happy Street by Vera Valamaki. It is humongous. I knitted a few years ago out of wool mice. So you can see I used a lighter grey, a darker grey, and a reddish pink color. This is all wool mice. The lighter grey is Maus Jung. The darker grey is Maus Alt, which is Maus Young and Maus Old. And the reddish pink is called Simply Pink. So I like it. I'm wearing it quite a bit, and I just wanted to show you in case anybody was interested. I will, as always, take a sip of tea, and then I will go on with my works in progress. And here today I have the Twinings. I think it's caramelized apple green tea or something. And I have it in my sleepy old mug. So, then I would say see you in a few seconds with the works in progress. Okay, so now for the works in progress. First off, as I also, maybe it was the same thing I showed you last week, but I was spinning quite a bit yesterday. That always happens to me just before I tour the fleece, that I want to spin all the things, but then during tour the fleece I tend to lose interest in spinning. So I will not participate into the fleece this year, but I will just spin when I want to spin. So I showed you this already last week. It is Regenbogenwolle, the one I bought and showed in, I think, the first episode. It is called The Thief, is the colorway, and it's blue-faced Leicester with rose sisal. It's quite nice. It is this purplish that I'm spinning right now. It gets lighter where the sisal is more condensed than in the other parts. I'm really liking this spinning. It drafts and I'm trying to spin this really thin because I'm aiming for a fingering weight, but I want to chain ply it. So I hope that will work out fine, and I have all this left. It's in the middle, it's green, teal, then bluish thing, and there is quite a bit of the purple left. So I will be working on this quite some time, I think, because as I said, I'm trying it to spin it super fine, so that I can get a nice fingering weight free ply out of it. And then I'm not quite sure what I'm doing with it. My ultimate goal for this year is to spin something I can knit socks out of, but I would not be, I would not like to make socks out of this, even if I hit a fingering weight, because I'm not quite sure how well they would hold up. So yeah, I have to do some research and find out what I can do, if I have to search for merino with nylon, or if I can choose some other cheap fiber that is known to be quite robust. So yeah, I have to see what I want to do about that. Okay, now to the first knitting work in progress. I think you did not see this yet. Maybe you saw it on Instagram. I worked on this last week while I was editing the podcast. It is in a bag that I won quite some time ago from the Mandobak Crafts podcast, and I think it was a spin along or something where I won it. Yeah, so for some time I wanted to work now on a design for a blanket. So, and I wanted it to be portable, so that I could do it when I was commuting or something, or when I just was going somewhere with a car. Obviously my husband would be driving and I would be knitting, so yeah. I would not be driving and knitting at the same time. So yeah, I decided to go to a local shop here and buy some drops merino, baby merino, which is a wool I worked with several times already, and I really like it, and they had the colors I wanted. So yeah, and I wanted it to be not like as boring and simple as, for example, the barn raising squares, but the technique is the same. So one starts in the middle and then one knits out, and I so that you can use the bind off edge to seam. And for this I marked the edges with little markers, so when I go on and seam it, I know exactly where to start and where to finish. And then I drew a design onto some paper, and I have several different squares that will then form one blanket, so it's not boring, and you can choose the colors how you want it. So this square, for example, it's not blocked yet, but yeah, I think you can see it. It has this little lace detail in the middle, and then of course the spines where you increase are also lacy. So one step up from this would be this one, where you have the lace detail in the middle, and then also lacy flowers in one of the triangles. So then, this would be hard to see because it's in navy blue. You have one where there's two sides, and then you have the all over lacy ones. So, and they will be seamed in such a way that there will be like an overall design. Yeah, and so far I have 5 squares. This one was the test one, that's not belonging to the blanket, but 5 squares, and they are kind of quick. So maybe they could be counted as finished objects, but there is one on the needles, and I'm using 3mm DPNs, because I don't know if it would be possible to start with the pinhole cast on while doing magic loop or something. So I'm not quite sure, and then therefore I'm using DPNs. And my current goal is to knit 25 squares and seam them together so that I have like a nice decent sized blanket that I can put on the sofa. Yeah, and I'm working on this whenever there's some some spare time in between. Next up is my Bling Your String bag with the kitties that you have seen several times already. In here is my project for the Herbstblatt along, and I can double dip it into the aquarium along that Regina is hosting in her podcast group. So if you own a skein of aquarium by Herbstblatt Regina, you can double dip it into knit-alongs. If you're having a skein of her Hydrogena garden, you can also double dip it in of, for example, the Herbstblatt along in my group, and also in her floor along. So yeah. Okay, but this is her aquarium colorway knit up into Pebble Socks by Mina Phillip of the Knitting Expat podcast. So I modified the pattern that it is toe up because I like toe up better than cuff down. It's just something that I cannot cast on as stretchy as I can bind off, and I think that makes more comfy socks. Yeah, and you saw it last week already. I think I was somewhere about here-ish, but I had cast on 68 stitches, and for using US 1, so 2.25 millimeter needles, that's totally fine, but I use 2.5 millimeters here. These are the Knit Pro Zings in 2.5 millimeter. I think this is US 2, I'm not quite sure, but however they were just too wide, and so I ripped back to the toe and knit all of this in during the soccer game Sunday when Germany played Slovakia, I think. Yeah, so that's just 90 minutes of knitting during a soccer game, but I'm quite liking the yarn and the pattern. It's quite easy to memorize and it gives a nice texture, and as you can see, it fits my nails, the color. Yeah, so, and I always use a lock and bolt stitch marker to mark where I ended the toe, so that on the second sock I can like count how many repeats I did to the full sock, and also to the point where I have to start to heel. Yeah, so these are my aquarium socks. Next work in progress is in my coffee bag by Knit Run Dick that was part of the I Love Your Modern Pumpkin Spice kit by CCM. In here is my yet to be named shawl design that I'm knitting out of Woolmize in the Bluebell colorway. It's Woolmize Twin, and as you can see, the ball is somewhat smaller than it was the last time I showed you, because I really got onto like I wanted to knit on this, so I did. The needles are somewhat small by now, but yeah, so it's coming along nicely. As I said, I started with garter stitch, did the eyelet row, some garter stitch, one eyelet row, some garter stitch, two eyelet rows, some garter stitch, 3 eyelet rows. Oops, yeah, here, 3. And I'm now working on a section where I will 5, day 5. And as you're maybe if you're somewhat familiar with mathematics, the Fibonacci sequence will mean something to you. It is just that you start with 1, and then there is another 1, and those 2 added up will be 2, and 2 and 1 added up will be 3, and 2 and 3 added up will be 5. So yeah, that's coming along nicely. And after I'm finishing the 5 eyelets, I will go on and knit a border, and I have to see if I can include the concept of this mathematical thing, playing around thing, also somewhat in the border. I was thinking to also have the border in eyelets and garter, so that it's totally not relevant which way you would wear the shawl. So there's no right and there's no wrong side. And I think this is really nicely showing off the beautiful blues and violets in this. I have to, I'm not the camera is not quite capturing the colors. Yeah. So, and I'm knitting this also knit prosing 4.5 millimeter. I think that's US 6. Yeah. I kind of like those needles for everyday working on things. Although, as I heard from some podcasters, you have to be careful because, especially for the smaller sizes, what is written on them, the size, is not really what you get. So, if you're using these, always make sure to measure them before, so that you really, get the needle size you want to work with. Okay, next up. Next up is also in the second coffee bag of Knit. Oh, there's cat fluff all over. Yeah, I can't really show you the project. And because it's a secret design project that I'm doing for someone, but as you can see, the gray is smaller, a lot smaller than the last times I showed it. The variegated isn't yet. The yarn is by Stricklilies Bunte Wolle. It's her 100% merino wool, and so I'm designing it for a special occasion. I can't tell you very much, but I think I could show you a little bit how the gray knits up. Oops. Stockinette, and it is just this dark bluish gray with this slightly variegation or tonal color changes, and I really like it. Yep. So that's also coming along nicely. Yeah, I would like to show, but I can't. Next project that's in here. So this is also back by Knit, and I also told you I got this at the Geeky Puffin Knit Palooza at the kind of open for grabs table where everybody brought something, and everybody who brought something got something. Yeah, so you could bring something you don't liked anymore, or that you were fallen out of love with, and so I took the bunnies. It's a drawstring bag, and I really also like this kind of style of a bag. So I'm not having a sock blocker right here at the moment, so I guess I have to show you without a sock blocker. So these are the Inizio socks by Regina Satter, where you have this kind of garter section here that is framed by knit stitches, and then a cable, and the cable is transforming on the leg into this almost like a Celtic knot cable, and the other side is just those garter rich things, blocks. And I already showed this to you before. I did start it at the end of 2014, I think. It's in a needle minder by Bling Your String, with this little, I would say Space Invader themed things, and that makes my gaming heart like jump, and I loved it. Yeah, so the last time I showed it to you, I was here, and I did quite a few rows, because I was thinking if I do like one repeat every row, every week. I will have those finished in about a month, and I can live with that. So because I want them off the needles, but I don't enjoy knitting on them that much, because at the time I cast those on, I decided to use DPNs, and DPNs are not really my favorite at the moment. I'm rather on sock knitting. As you saw before, I would use magic loop or even 2 circular needles. So I did one full repeat of the chart, which was about from there to there. It's not that much, but as I said, I need about, I think in total 4 repeats on the foot, and I have 1. So if I'm doing 1 repeat a week, I will have those finished in 3 weeks. I try to do 2 a week, I think this week, maybe when editing the podcast, but they also require some concentration, because you have to exactly know where on the cable chart you are. But once I get to the point where I can start the toad, I will just fly off the needles. I think when I'm at the point, I will be starting the toad, and also they are just so beautiful and pooling and flashing, and I really want to wear those, because look here, you have like a totally red leg with all the cable being kind of reddish, and here I don't know what happened on the leg, it's striped. I really like those crazy variegated socks that are not same but somehow similar. I really like that, and I hope it will be done soonish. So next project is in this bag you also saw last week, I think. It's in my Big Bang Theory bag by the Silver Shed USA. That was actually, I think, my first bag I bought when I was in the US. And I really like it. It's just geeky enough for me to be fun. So in here is my featherweight cardigan. I'm not that far from where I finished last week. I only did 5 rows, but 5 rows on the size I need for a cardigan is a lot of stitches. It's coming along nicely. I was thinking this week that I wasn't thinking about this when starting this, that the front of the cardigan is like not that closed. Hey Cookie. Hey. So Cookie decided to join us and block the camera, and now he's behind the camera, so maybe we'll see something more of him. As you heard, he always knocks stuff over if he jumps onto the table. And there he's coming again. Hey Cookie, do you want to say hello? No cat butt in the camera. So there is Cookie. He's not a cat that would like sit in your lap and be cuddled. He just jumps onto your table, knocks stuff over, looks at you like, hey, I'm hungry, feed me, and then he goes. But if you like grab him and cuddle him, he's okay with that. So yeah. So Cookie, you have to go now. Cookie. Where was I? Oh, I was talking about the fronts of the cardigan. I did not realize when starting this that the fronts of this cardigan are quite open, and it's really just this much is the front of the cardigan. And I was thinking when I will be adding the color, just if I would do it any wider, do more rows, And also I was debating, I think I'm going for the ribbed one, but I think I will do like 10 to 15 rows of not of garter, but of garter stitch. Yeah, maybe I'm doing a garter stitch color on this. Not quite sure yet, but yeah, I will see. Yeah, so that's the Featherweight cardigan by Hannah Fettig. Oh, it's on US 5 3.75 millimeter needles, and the yarn is Woll Bonbon Merino, which is one of those gradient yarns that is not like polite, but it has 3 strands in this case that are 2 of one color and 1 of another color. It knits up quite nicely, so sometimes with these kinds of yarns you have it splitty very often, because it's not really splitting because it's not plied, but yeah, so that's coming along quite nicely. Oh, and I think I did not talk about the DPNs I'm using for my Inizio socks are 2.25 millimeter needles. They are the Knit Pro Carbons. It's US 1, and I also modified the pattern because it comes for 60 stitches, so I added stitches. I think here I added some pearls, and maybe on the sides and here in the middle, I think. So if you want to knit this pattern, it comes in for 60 stitches, but it's kind of easily modified to a higher number of stitches, and I think I could have gone with 60 stitches when using a bigger needle, but at that time I liked the more tighter gauge I got with 2.25, and only recently at the beginning of the year my 2.25 millimeter knitting on socks was becoming like so dense, and so you could like actually you could put the socks on the table and they would stand on their own, and that I think is not like what I like. It might be good for the durability of your socks, or that you like don't destroy them as easily while walking, but I did not just like it, and I was figuring I would rather wear socks I'm liking than socks that hold up very long but I'm not quite fond of. So yeah, the next project, you also have seen this before. It's now moved to a bigger bag. I'm not quite sure if it was last week already in this bag. It is my Cozy Memories blanket. I'm using those bamboo single point needles with the little stars on them, and yeah, the color is coming off now that I'm using them more often, but that's okay. They were like not very expensive, so yeah, and they are 4 millimeters and they are quite nice for working on the blanket. I think I showed you last week I had squared the blanket. Had I squared it off? No, I think I added those top 3. This I added this week. It's the leftovers from my Hydrogena cowl by so the design is by me, but the yarn is by Herbstblatt Regina. Yeah, maybe that's better. It doesn't really show off the pinks and the purples in this, and yeah, so she posted a picture yesterday that she's now back to dyeing because she was moving, and now she's back to dyeing, and she said she's dyeing the Hydrogena garden first. So if you want something of that, make sure that you follow her and check out her shop from time to time. And she was saying how many layers it needs to be like this. So yeah, but I think it really is a wonderful color, and it's really worth the work that she's putting into this. And then I talked about it, I think a few episodes before, that I want the kind of seam-like things in my blanket to form like a diamond shape, if so to say. Yeah, I think that's right. So I had to start I had to start them in another direction, and I did it down here with the one square I added. So all the seams are going in this direction, and on this it's going like opposite, so that it will hopefully form some nice diamond structures. And those are the leftovers of my transforming vanilla socks I showed you last week as a finished object. Yeah. So again, if anybody wants to test knit either the Hydrogena KAL or these socks, just send me a PM, and I will forward the draft of the pattern to you so that you can go test knitting. I think the deadlines will not be very strict or something, because I have 3 patterns coming up in July, and that's kind of some editing work already, so I hope to publish those maybe in August or something. Yeah, so if you're interested in test knitting, just send me a PM or contact me on Instagram or Ravelry or whatever. And the last project is something that I just started to get 2 days ago, on Monday. And I lost kind of the case for my glasses, so I was thinking, okay, why don't I knit one? And this is in a bag that I sewed a long time ago. It was like my first project bag that I sewed, and it's this pyramid shape, and it's like the size for a sock, and you see there like open seams and stuff. So yeah, it was just a first attempt at sewing with a zipper. And I use for this, it's kind of a colorwork project, I use Knit Picks palette in a turquoise, I think, and a blue. Those were left over from something I planned to do while I was in the US, but I didn't go around doing. Come around doing. So I am using those bits and ends now for other stuff. And as I said, I'm planning to knit a case for my glasses. So I have done color work 1 or 2 times before, but yeah, I'm not really good at it, so I wanted to try it and like improve it. And on the back you can see I just did those alternating stitches, and you can see here there's like some tension issues, but I think the further up I come, the better it looks. And on this side I searched for a chart that I wanted to knit, and I found this mittens. I think they were called, Norwegian Totoro mittens. I'm not quite sure who is the designer, but I will include that in the show notes if you want to knit them. And they have a chart that on the bottom says Totoro, which you might know from the Japanese anime movie, My Neighbor Totoro. And on top there will be the Totoro, and it will hold like an umbrella. So that might be a really cute project, and I hope to have it finished next week. Because I really want to use this. And I also like the colors, how they playing together. And those are also on Knit Pro Things. It's 3mm needles, which would be, I think, a US 2.5 or something. It's one of those sizes that are not really meant to exist, I think, in the US system. So yeah, I'm liking this quite much, and this was the last work in project. Work in progress. Work in project. Yeah, and as I said, there will be no finished objects this week. So I will be back with the acquisitions and enabling section. Okay, now to the enabling and acquisition section of the podcast. So again, this week I don't have any new yarn to show, because I'm kind of on the yarn diet, I guess. But that can change any minute if I see something like pretty. Yeah, so I'm trying to be good about buying yarn. But when you don't buy yarn, nobody says you can buy needles, right? So I saw that on Amazon there was a sale for Knit Pro needles. I don't know if it's just was here in Germany or something, and it might have been also only a short time thing. But I went there and bought some Zing needles. Yeah. I bought a total of 6, but 2 are already used in projects, so I can show you those 4, which are 4.5 millimeter, 3.25 millimeter, 3.75 millimeter, and 3.5 millimeter. So these sizes from 3 millimeter to 4.5 millimeter are those I tend to use most often, because I can use them for fingering weight, for sport weight, for lace weight, even decay weight. So that are the sizes I use most often. Those were kind of cheap needles, so I was thinking, okay, for everyday knitting that's totally fine. And as you know, I'm a person, I have whips all around, so sometimes there's just not the right needle that is just free right now if I want to cast something on. And I'm okay with having many whips, so yeah, I'm also okay with having a lot of needles. As I said before, you have to be a bit careful with those Knit Pro Zing needles, because they tend to be a tad smaller than is given on them as a size. So before using, you always have to check with a needle gauge if they are the right size that you want to use. So yeah, I bought this on Amazon. Then I think 1 or 2 weeks ago, Regina went on Instagram and posted a picture and said, yeah, I'm moving and I kind of want to get rid of those. If anyone wants them, please just pay the postage, and then I will send them over. And what she wanted to give away were 3 books. And I said, yeah, sure, I would love to have them. So I paid the postage, and they showed up last weekend here at my doorstep, where we did not really, so we were not at home. We visited my father-in-law. So I got them on Sunday, and I didn't really have time to have a deeper look, but I really like them. There's 3 craft business related books. So the one is Crafty Superstar by Grace Dobush. And from what I saw, it talks about how to set up your business so that you can have a kind of successful business from things that you do, so crafts and stuff. The second book is Craft Inc. Turn Your Creative Hobby into a Business by Matteo Ilesco. And the books are all covering kind of the same topics, but they differ a little in layout and how they go about. So the third one is The Handmade Marketplace by Carrie Chapin. I hope I didn't butcher any of those names. So yeah, and as I said, I did not have really time to look at them in detail, but I think I will get some very helpful tips out of them. and also they are illustrated all very, very nicely. And I said on Instagram that if I'm done with those, I will also send them to the next person, so that the next person can get like very helpful tips. And there was already a person that said, yeah, please send them to me when you're finished with them. And I said, yeah, okay, I will do that. So we will be doing kind of a little chain of knowledge, going from Germany maybe all over the world. And it would be really fun if the next person then also would give those books to the next person to enjoy. So those were like the acquisitions, and then there was a little parcel showing up on the doorstep yesterday. So and it was the swap package I was expecting. So I think 2 weeks ago I showed you the little minis, the mini skeins I prepared for the very so someone contacted me on Ravelry saying, hey, I saw you want to swap, so let's do a swap. And that's what exactly happened here. And this person was Manuela, and she lives, from this card I guess, in the Allgäu. So it's Bavaria. It's like the deep south of Germany. She wrote a lovely note, as I did for her package. She included a little needle minder, and it says made by Manu. I'm not quite sure if she sells those, but this is so well made, and it would be, she could sell them. And it has this yellow orangey. Hey Cookie. Cookie wants to say hello again. So Cookie, say hello, and then just bye. So last week I only realized when I already was filming that I had shut the door and he was outside, so that was why he didn't appear on the podcast, because apparently he likes to appear on the podcast. Luna not so much. Woo! He knocks over stuff. Yeah, Luna not so much, but Cookie does like to appear in the podcast. And I think if he decides to make more trouble right now, then I will stop recording and put him outside. He's looking at me. Yeah, so where was I? Okay, so it has this orange and yellow flowers. Hi Cookie. And I really like it, and it has like those red snaps. I think I can get a lot of use out of it. So then she sent some tea. Not quite sure. Sweet Kiss by Teekanne. Green Rooibos, Son of Africa. I'm not quite sure if you can see me because Cookie is already in the picture. Cookie, it's tea. Are you interested in tea, Cookie? I know you don't. So, okay. So, as you can see, Cookie is here, and he wants to say hello, like all of the time. So I try to podcast with him, and if that does not work, I will go on podcast without him. So I will, put him outside where he can play or something. So then there is this Glückstee by Alnatura, which is made of cocoa, rooibos and vanilla. I'm very interested in this. So what is next? There is some Cookie wants to go. There is some Gute Laune tea. It's a fruit mixture out of cherry, fruit tea, There's also rooibos, orange, vanilla, a lot of things that sound lovely together. And there is one peppermint. So what we actually wanted to swap were mini skeins. So she sent some lovely ones. This is Opal 100 Wasser in the colorway Regen auf Regentag. There is some Wollmeise Pure in the Graf Ratz colorway. It's just a very dark grayish color. Then there is Drachenwolle in Weinrot, which is red wine red. I'm not quite sure. So then there is Regia in the Winner colorway. Then there is Opal Sweet and Spicy. And that's funny, actually, I have this skein, but of their series with the silver effect, and I did not really use it by now, but when I put this into my blanket, I can see how it knits up, and if I want to knit socks out of this or something else. So there is something she dyed herself with the Easter egg color, it's like food coloring. Then there is some Fischerwolle Corinna. That's like a German shop where you can buy all different wool, and they have like their in-house brands. And there is some she bought Garne Bot sock in the Abracadabra colorway. And this is really beautiful with the purples and the yellows and the greens and the browns. And there is Dornröschenwolle. It's another German indie dyer. And it's yellows, browns, greens. And the last one is Regia Extra Twist Merino in like a grey colorway. So yeah, I really love those solids because I don't have that many solid minis for my blanket. So I think they will be good to like separate crazy color from crazy color. Yeah, so I really like this this package she sent me. Oops. Yeah. Okay, so I think this is all for enabling I have this week. Now I will go on to the knit-along section because one knit-along is running and one knit-along is starting in 2 days. Okay, so now to the knit-along section. The first knit-along that is currently running in my podcast group on Ravelry, which is the LuCookieknits podcast group, is the Herbstblatt along, where you can knit something out of Herbstblatt Regina yarn, like the aquarium or the hydrogena, or yeah. I think I have another skein of her yarn here. Is it in here? Yeah. So you can, sorry for the twinkling, you can either knit something using her yarn, or you can knit something using one of her patterns she released. Yeah, so that would actually be eligible. That is her Crazy Flower Bed colorway on her oak sock fingering weight yarn. So what is eligible for that knit along? So you could either knit something out of her yarn, you could knit something using her patterns. She has a pattern for fingerless mittens, she has a pattern for a hat, she has a pattern for a cowl, I think. She also has a pattern for a shawl. I'm not quite sure if that is released yet or not, but just have a look. And what you can win for this knit along is she donated one skein that you can choose from her shop. As a prize. There will also be prizes from my designs, so I will give you a copy of the ebook for the Siebengebirge collection, and I think I said 3 individual patterns that you can choose from my Ravelry shop, and I also will be sewing a project bag. And so if you knit anything out of her yarn, just post it in the group. You need to be a member of the group to be able to win prizes, and the knit along goes to the 15th of September, so you have a lot of time left. It's 2.5 months left. In that you can knit something out of her yarn or from her patterns and post it and then win a prize. And also there is no finished objects thread and no cheddar thread that are separated. I wanted to everybody to be able to comment on everybody's project, so what I will do is I will go through the thread and I will I think 1 or 2 of the individual patterns will be drawn from all over the thread, so also for the cheddar. But then for the yarn and the project bag and the collection, I will go through the thread and sort out the finished projects and draw from them. So there is a good chance that you win something. There are not so many. There is no entry yet because I think it just started. But so if you want to win a skein like this or one of her other colorways or some of my patterns or a project bag that I sew, just go there and post your project that you knit out of her yarn or out of her or her using her patterns. So the other knit along that is going on, not going on yet, but that would start in 2 days, is the Connecting Continents KAL with Tiffany of the Knitting from the Mitten podcast. So what is that? We decided we wanted to host a knit along together, and we would like you to choose something that is local to you and something that is from another part of the world, another country, and you combine it and then you knit something out of this. So what I will be doing is, for this knit along, I will be using those 2 yarns. The one is Miss Mothballs in the Raspberry Cheesecake colorway, and the other one is Beerenwolle in the Graffiti Love Song colorway. So those yarns are from Germany. They are local to me. One is from, I think, the north of Germany, and one is from the south of Germany, or southwest and more north, I think. And I will use those 2 to knit Pure Joy by Giorgio Locatelli, which is from Argentina. So I have something that is local and a pattern that is from another part of the world. So this is eligible for the knit along. If I wanted to choose some yarn that is not local from where I am, it doesn't have to be local from the city or the region you are living, but just from the country or from the country you have been living before. Doesn't matter at all. I could maybe knit something from from Melanie Beck, for example, because she is local to me. So I think that would be quite fun. We ask you to start your project July 1st or later. The knit along is going to the 30th of September. So we don't allow whips because we want it to be a conscious choice of what you're going to do with yarn and where it came from, and yeah. Is there anything else? Oh yeah, so for prices, Tiffany and I decided that we are going to dye up some yarn. So I will be dyeing skeins, I think in total 4. One for me, one for her, one for prices in my group, and one for prices in her group. And she's going to do the same and send it over so that you can win in a total of 4 skeins of yarn. In my group, I think there will be also a pattern prize and I think a project bag. So yeah, you should check out her podcast, the Knitting from the Mitten podcast, to see what she gives away. And we will have cheddar and finished object threads in both of our groups, so you can knit one thing and post it in both groups, so that you have double the chance to win a prize. And I think that will be very much fun. And yeah, so that's it for knit-alongs. I think what I forgot to say for the Hepsplat along is whips are allowed there, so you can enter anything you started also before the 15th of June. Just you need it to be finished after the 15th of June. So yeah, that's it for knit-alongs. And yeah, so I think I have a small live section at the end this week. Yeah, see you then. Okay, now the little live section. Yeah, last week when I podcasted, a friend of mine, I think a day or two after, said yeah, she's going to Edinburgh, and I told her about some shops she should visit there. I'm not quite sure if she was there or not, but they drove from Germany with the car to Edinburgh, and they went by Amsterdam. So she posted pictures when she visited the Steven and Penelope shop in Amsterdam. And I was like, you could have brought me some hedgehog fibers. And she was like, yeah, but we only had 10 minutes there. And then, yeah, so I was like, Amsterdam is not that far from where I live. It's by US means, I think. So from if you're in Germany, like a 1 hour drive would be maybe considered like far away or something. But Amsterdam is like 3 hours with the car away. So by US means it would be like next door. So yeah, so it's only about, I think, 350 kilometers or something. And I was talking to my husband and I was like, yeah, we should go to Amsterdam with the car. And he was like, yeah, let's do it. And then I thought about it and was thinking, yeah, but going that far only for like 1 or 2 skeins of yarn is like maybe a bit crazy. But I already had wrapped my mind around being away for the weekend and doing something extraordinary or not normal. So we decided that we would visit his father, so my father-in-law. He is in the process of moving here, so he is living I think 250 kilometers away. That's like 2.5 hours maybe. But he's in the process of moving here, and so we wanted to go there last time to visit where my husband came, the city where my husband lived some years. And yeah, so we did not tell him we were coming. We took my husband's sister with us, so it would be kind of a surprise. And we drove there after my husband came from work in the morning, like 5 o'clock in the morning or something we started, and we were there by maybe 7:30 or something in the morning. And we went and got breakfast so we went grocery shopping and bought the stuff you need for like a German breakfast. And my sister-in-law, she took the stuff and went to the door and rang the bell and said, "Yeah, here, I brought breakfast." And he was like very sleepy and didn't realize at all and was like, "How did you get here?" Because she has no driver's license. "How did you get here? Did you take a train or something?" And did not realize that early in the morning there was no train. So a few minutes later we then appeared and he was like really stunned, and so we were there for the weekend. We went to Kassel, which is a city that is not far from where he lives, and we did some shopping. We found an American diner in Kassel, and it was really good. We had like the best burgers I had in a long time since I left the US, so that's something I really miss from the time I was in the US. Also, when Tiffany a few days ago posted that she was at Qdoba, I was like, really, Qdoba, I want that burrito right now. So yeah, that was on Saturday, and on Sunday my husband and his sister and I, we wanted to do some skateboarding, and the two of them, they have skateboards, and they wanted to learn some tricks. And I have a longboard, but I'm not able at the moment to ride it because I'm kind of anxious, maybe. So when we were in the Netherlands, beginning of the month, I somehow could do it. So I could like get on it and ride, and that was kind of fun. But I seem to have forgotten how to do it, and so I am in the process of learning it again. But that was quite fun. So we only went inside when the weather turned and it was looking a bit like it would start raining any minute soon. Then in the afternoon my husband's other sister came, and so it was kind of a fun afternoon. And I forgot, I got also a piercing that weekend. So I'm really not interested in anything that can cause pain or something, so I'm really scared of needles and stuff. But then I was like, just let's do it. And I got my piercing here, the tragus piercing. It's just on the ear, and I think it looks neat. It's nothing extra special, but I was kind of relieved that I did it, because it did not hurt that much, but it was a good feeling after I've done it. So that was all about our weekend. We didn't spend at home. Other things, then we came home and there was the books waiting for me that Regina sent. And also I think yesterday or the day before, Regina, Kerstin and I, we decided to meet up at the end of the month, so that will be really exciting. So that's all for this week. I think this will be a shorter episode, but that's okay. So I hope your week will be wonderful. And if you are knitting something out of Regina's yarn, or if you're knitting one of her patterns, or if you would like to knit with us in the Connecting Continents knit along, you should join us. You should also check out Tiffany's podcast, the Knitting from the Mitten podcast, to see what she's got for prices. And that's it. Oh, and one thing I forgot, I seem to be recording on Wednesdays right now, and I think that's okay. I think Tuesdays might not be that good with my schedule at the moment, so I think the new podcasts every week might be coming out like every Wednesday evening, Wednesday morning in the US. So yeah, that's just something I wanted to say. And also another huge thank you for all of you who are watching and all of you who are contacting me and saying nice things. Yeah, okay. Bye. So I hope you have a nice week and a lovely weather, and see you next week.